millennials and Gen Z largely. It's a scale, right? So it's funny when Gen X goes like, "Why are you forgetting about us?" Because Gen X is stable. So boomers silent to the smallest boomers slightly more, Gen X slightly more, millennials kind of a lot, Gen Z even more. Gen Alpha is probably going to be just totally cooked. There is a purposelessness.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'd have to imagine your average Gen Z guy who plays like World of Warcraft all day, if they still play. I mean, do people still play World of Warcraft?
Fortnite, Rocket League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
WoW had its day.
FIFA.
If an angel, if they were walking through a field one day, they went to a Dollar General, and they were walking home through a field, and it was like dusk, and then all of a sudden a blinding beam of light struck the ground before them, and an angel came down, and, angel, you choose. Is it the gigantic ring of eyeballs with wings all over it, or is it a glorious-looking being with wings floating down, carrying a heavenly sword?
Ring of eyeballs.
Ring of eyeballs. And then with a booming voice, which emerged from the center of this neat, said, "You have been tasked with divine mandate. Your job is," and it literally just gave it like, be fruitful and multiply, do this. That is your mission. They would probably be the happiest person. They'd be happier than they've ever been in their life.
100%.
Knowing and being told you have a purpose and a mandate and a mission. We used to have this through faith and community. And now I think it's a large component of luxury because we don't have to fight for survival as much as we used to. Yep. No more bears, no more monsters, no more controversy. You wake up, dozen donuts, dirt. It's cheap. You can get it. You barely got to work. So people are just like, what am I doing? Why am I here? Mm-hmm. And they have no purpose, and they become depressed and amoral. And the one thing I will say is, as these people drift towards like socialism and communism, a large component is finding a mission. The socialists promise them fulfillment. This is our mission. We must defeat our great evil. And so they latch on to whatever they can.
Yeah. I mean, like the number one complaint I get from like female Zoomer friends and their relationships or even marriages is that like the men just don't lead anymore. And it's not that like there's a lot of problems with women Zoomers in the dating market. So this is not like an anti-man point, but it is true that like men are so devoid of purpose that they have trouble. They're self-conscious leading someone if they don't even know what they're leading them to. And I think that hits to your point with religiosity, but also in general, like there's just a lack of drive. So like young men are having a problem leading, not testosterone related per se, but it's just because they don't know what they're leading the women to. They don't have
the percentage of young women who say that there is a dearth of marriageable or even dateable men is shocking. It's absolutely shocking, and we can blame the ladies for that, all we want to at this table, right? And say, like their standards are too high or whatever there. But no, I mean, like at some point, like more young men have to do what you say they do, and like actually like lead and like be a breadwinner.
Oh, I love this like trend of guys being like, women are too picky and they're hoes and all that stuff. And I'm like,
terrible look, terrible.
It's just not correct. Yeah. Like women are women. They'll always be women, and they'll always have high standards, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I love how there was this trend among women of the chopped man epidemic, and the guys, the response from like red pill guys was, this proves our point that women only want the highest tier of guys. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you're saying the same thing they're saying. Yeah. You are all below average and not working hard enough to be the best. There's like, you're just kind of disparaging each other in different ways. Mm-hmm. Just work harder. I guess younger guy. I obviously I blame their parents, the younger generation's parents who didn't instill in them that drive to conquer.
Well, also the problem that happened with with Zoomers specifically is that the dating market that we entered is completely different from our parents. So there's nothing that my parents could really advise me on dating wise that would be of much utility because of the introduction of dating apps and these sorts of things. It's completely nuked the playing field. And this is like the Zoomers are the test. That's to the extent the millennials, the younger millennials. It's like the first generation testing out this new method of matchmaking, because the reality is like the majority of marriage licenses are now being issued to couples that met through dating apps. So it's like it's just a whole new paradigm, and the older generations can't really provide much insight.
Exactly.
Just because of the way like civilization has just completely been restructured in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, a lot of things were afforded to them that we would never have gotten a chance to even get access to in the first place.
The funniest thing is, like, I met my wife at work, Yo, good luck, Gen Z, trying to like date someone you're working
You got
with.
the last chopper out of Nam.
I know, right? Like you'll get arrested.
For sure.
You'll get put on blast on social media. You'll go viral. They'll accuse you of being a sexual harasser. Then the company will get sued. You'll get blacklisted and lose your job.
Oh, this is a real problem, though. I mean, historically, that was probably one of the highest percentage chances of actually meeting your spouse. I mean, like that or church, basically. Right? Those it's like your two highest percentage.
Now it's like you're Gen Z and you get a job at an office and you have like attractive female coworker and you're like, hey, you want to hang out sometime? And then she goes, yeah, just give me a second. HR, can we fire this guy? He's harassing me.
Literally. Yeah, like the majority of my friends that are in relationships or married met through dating apps, and the guys that aren't, and also the girls, it's just they're not, as their personality is just not equipped for that style of matchmaking. So it's like there's just a filter that right now. It's like, how well are you at conducting and presenting yourself online?
Trump should just like he's deploying the National Guard. He should mandate marriages and just force.
State issued girlfriend. I've been saying this.
State
for years.
issued.
Yeah.
No, worse than that. State mandated marriages. You don't get to pick either.
Yeah, I mean,
You walk into it'll be the Department of Marriage certificates or Marriage Administration, the DMA, and you walk in and there's just a curtain and they go next, and the lady's like sitting there and her eyes are half glazed over and she got long fingernails and she hits a button, the curtain opens up and you get what you get.
you have a chopped index, and it's like you guys are looks matched. You're both the equal.
Oh no,
level
you
of
think it'll be that
chopped.
good? You get what you get, brother. This is the government.
Randomized?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
no.
the government. They're not going to do it well.
I feel,
What does the government do well? The only thing the government does well is like the military.
skill-based matchmaking.
The government's really good at spending money.
Yes, they're good at spending
That's
money.
what Palantir is preparing this database so they can have a chopped index and then match these couples up through the Department of Marriage. I think this is a great plan, actually. This is better than Hinge for sure.
Government mandated
Yeah.
marriage.
Yeah.
It's going to be all bad. It's going to be, they're going to blow it. You're going to get paired with people you hate.
You know, that's what we've talked about it a little bit before, like Handmaid's Tale. We mentioned this like last month. Isn't the story like humans are going extinct? I could be wrong, but like my understanding was that something happened, a great catastrophe. So the society has become very like fundamentalist, like women have to have babies, otherwise humans will cease to exist.
Right.
And women are like, nah, that's bad.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I got to be honest. If human population collapsed to the point of near extinction, I'm going to be on the side of like, ladies, you got to have kids.
Yeah, of course.
And like the men have to fight and provide for those kids and otherwise we go extinct.
Of course. I've been to Japan multiple times over the past decade, and the first time I was there, I was struck. So Japan famously has horrific fertility rates, horrific. Yeah. And they compound that with a very restrictionist immigration policy. So Japan naturalizes, I think the stat is like 100 or fewer new Japanese citizens every year, which is, you call it extraordinarily based or extraordinarily nationalist. I mean, like, I more or less support that for whatever it's worth. But I mean, when you have that combined with, a shocking low fertility rate, they're facing a demographic crisis for sure. And the first time I was there, I was struck. I was talking with some locals, and one of them was telling me about they have in Tokyo, I assume the other big cities too, cuddle bars, which are literally exactly what it sounds like. You essentially pay a cover fee to walk into a bar to experience cuddling, just like some sort of touch of another person there. And this was, I guess, 2016 was my first time there, and I kind of thought at that time, I was like, is this actually coming to America anytime soon? I don't think I've seen a cuddle bar in the United States anytime soon, but I mean, we're kind of getting to the point where that sort of stuff is getting increasingly less crazy.
So I've never actually watched the show or read the book, but the premise is widespread infertility. Birth rates have plummeted due to a mix of environmental degradation, pollution, STDs, and other factors. Many women are no longer able to conceive or even carry pregnancies to term. So the authoritarian state of Gilead emerges in what was once the United States, claiming to fix this crisis. Its leaders interpret the fertility decline as divine punishment and enforce a theocratic system where fertile women, called handmaids, are forced into reproductive servitude to bear children for elite families. So I get it. It's a dystopian, futuristic story. But I do find it fascinating that, like, there is a reality to, outside of the theocratic notion of this, if humans are about to go extinct, your choices are have kids or go extinct.
It's a no-brainer to me. I don't know.
I mean, but I feel like we're facing this now.
Well,
I mean, women reject having kids.
Right.
Well, I think we're just going through a filter where it's like there's like three groups that are still reproducing right now. It's like really religious people, it's the super wealthy, and then the super poor, like in the United States at least. So we're just going through a filter where this basically just exterminates the middle class and exterminates the non-religious.
But that's not a good thing.
Well, yeah, the middle class is not a good thing at all. But like, anyway, so 60 years from now, like America's going to look very different. It's going to be like a country of extremes.
Yeah.
It's going to be it's actually going to be a return actually to like 17th century America in a lot of ways, where you're going to have Puritanism and you're going to have the aristocracy in the South.
Oh, bro, dude, in every way. So with the mass decentralization of media and AI, everything's localizing. So for us, for instance, with me talking about all this population collapse stuff, Cracker Barrel is losing money, right? So you need to look at what you can serve in your local community and how big your community is going to be. When everything breaks apart, businesses are going to merge to serve just their local community because expansion will be very difficult with a shrinking population. With the decentralization of media, nobody knows what is true or isn't true, which means media is going to return to a largely localized focus where you do know what's true. So everything we're seeing suggests we're going back to the 1700s.
Yeah.
And to be fair, from the 1300s to like the mid 1700s, the world didn't change. Like obviously there was wars and stuff like that and borders changed, but technology-wise, it was stagnant for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to find ourselves in that position.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a lot of these AI guys now are saying that the ceiling is coming into view of like what the limits are of AI. And it's like we could just hit that ceiling and we're at a level of comfort or maybe a level where everything is settled, where they're just like technological advancement does stagnate for another 100 years as the world kind of reorganizes its civilizations around the new playing field.
I think it took, 450 years to invent the cartridge.
Right, yeah.
So they were like, we're going to stuff the muzzle of this, tube and then put a big metal ball in it and then light it up and it fired somebody. And then 400 years later, someone said, why don't I make a smaller tube that does all of that? Then I can put the smaller tubes in the gun one at a time and I don't got to reload every time. And it took them that long.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Was it the Spanish-American War that was the first time that we had like actual cartridge-driven weapons used?
It was 1808 was when it was first
Really? That far
invented.
back?
It was Jean Samuel Pauly, Swiss gunsmith.
But the first widespread use, I believe, was the Civil War.
Could be.
The North at Gettysburg had paper cartridges with breech-loading rifles, and the South had muzzle loaders. So the North was able to reload substantially faster than the South.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
When you go to Gettysburg, you learn all this stuff, and it's like 40 minutes from here. It's so fun.
I've never been.
You got to go. It's amazing.
I really need to get there.
Tons of, like the antiquing there. You ever been antiquing?
No.
Oh, you got to do it. Out here in West Virginia, woof, the antiquing. Nazi paraphernalia as far as the eye can see. That's not a joke. You walk into any antique store, and it's like the first thing they show you is all the Nazi stuff they have.
Draper heaven.
I think it's just because it's like taboo. It's like exotic. It's like, oh, look, the Nazis, right? Yeah. And then behind it, you'll have the Allied, World War II stuff. But World War II, it's like all these antique stores, it's like one of the most popular things.
Wow.
But obviously in Gettysburg, they have cannonballs from the Civil War.
Wow.
It's crazy. We found a bayonet out here, Civil War bayonet. Because we're near Harper's Ferry. A lot of stuff was going on.
I imagine if you went out into most fields around here with a metal detector, you'd find some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
When we were building the building, they found the bayonet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Sick.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Well, that's like that's the premise of Dune, right? Is that they develop armor that can like withstand bullets and all that stuff. So they had to return to sword fighting. So it's like I actually kind of like this. Like we're talking about returning to like pre-modern civilizational structures, and I like the idea of that movie where it's like we could just return to sword fighting.
I like indoor
in,
plumbing.
You ever see Venture Brothers?
I'm
You guys ever see Venture Brothers?
not Indian.
I've not, no.
It's like a kind of a ripoff of Johnny Quest, but one of my favorite lines from that show is the premise is there's like, imagine if Johnny Quest grew up and it's a satirical, but he's like a super smart genius inventor, and he's having a yard sale of all his crazy inventions, and there's like a fat nerd guy, and he sees a lightsaber, and he picks it up, and he's like, wow, a real lightsaber, and then Dr. Venture goes, and I was making it for the military, but then they said, we don't sword fight anymore. It was really funny because like all the people that love playing with lightsabers, and it's like, yeah, we wouldn't use that. It's like, maybe it's a utility belt item, but you'd have a gun.
Yeah.
Ranged weapons.
Guns are functional.
That's why the super like Nietzschean people love the Dune movies, because it's like return to power or whatever, because like Samuel Colt made everyone equal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.